Can you imagine a powerful king who traveled to the ends of the earth, fought against monstrous creatures, and built a giant wall that remained standing for centuries? Well, I'm not talking about a character from a fantasy novel. This is the story of Dhul-Qarnayn, a real historical figure mentioned in the Qur'an. And his journey was full of adventure, mystery, and important lessons for all of us. Join me on this journey as we uncover the secrets of the mysterious King Dhul-Qarnayn. Dhul-Qarnayn was a great leader who ruled over a vast kingdom that stretched from east to west. The name Dhul-Qarnayn means the two-horned king. However, most scholars agree that he was a righteous and just king who was chosen by Allah to carry out a special mission. One day, Allah spoke to Dhul-Qarnayn in a dream and told him to travel to the farthest points of the earth. So he assembled a massive army and set out on his journey. The first leg of his journey took him to the west, where he encountered a people who were deeply involved in sin and wrongdoing. When they heard about the coming of the powerful king, they panicked and prepared to resist him. Dhul-Qarnayn confronted them and demanded that they abandon their evil ways and turn to righteousness. However, when he saw that they refused to change, he decided to punish them severely. He ordered his soldiers to attack them and put them to flight. Then he divided their land among the poor and the needy, making sure that justice was established in the region. After dealing with the people of the west, Dhul-Qarnayn continued his journey to the east. As he traveled, he noticed that the people there had no protection from the scorching sun. They lived in caves or under trees, and their lives were full of hardship and discomfort. Filled with compassion, Dhul-Qarnayn decided to help them. He built houses, planted crops, and provided them with everything they needed to live a comfortable life. He also taught them the principles of justice and righteousness, and they became some of the most devout and peaceful people in the world. As Dhul-Qarnayn continued his journey, he came across a valley nestled between two mighty mountains. The people who lived there welcomed him warmly and invited him to their homes. But when he entered their houses, he noticed that they were very poor and barely had enough to eat. Despite their poverty, they offered him hospitality and made sacrifices to ensure he felt welcome. When Dhul-Qarnayn asked them about their situation, they shared a troubling story with him. They explained that there were two groups of fierce and merciless people called Gog and Magog who lived beyond the mountains. These groups were constantly trying to invade their land and cause destruction. The people were terrified and begged Dhul-Qarnayn for help. They offered to pay him any amount of money if he would build a barrier to keep Gog and Magog out of their valley. However, Dhul-Qarnayn refused their offer and instead told them he would help them build a barrier at no cost to them. Although the people were initially confused, they agreed to let him do as he pleased. Dhul-Qarnayn went to the top of the mountain and instructed his men to bring large sheets of iron to form a barrier. Once the iron sheets were in place, he ordered fires to be lit beneath them. The intense heat caused the iron to glow red-hot, and he then poured molten copper over it, sealing the wall. This created a barrier that was so strong and tall that it was impossible to climb over or dig through. Dhul-Qarnayn then returned to the people and told them that this barrier was a blessing from Allah. However, he also warned them that it was only a temporary solution and that Allah would eventually remove it and allow Gog and Magog to break through. When that happens, he said, Allah would destroy both Gog and Magog and anyone else who defied him. Before moving on, Dhul-Qarnayn established a system of leadership among the people to ensure that they remained just and fair towards one another. He left them with a warning about the importance of looking after the sick and the elderly among them, reminding them to take care of those who couldn't take care of themselves. From there, Dhul-Qarnayn continued his journey until he reached a town where he met a man who seemed to be lost. When Dhul-Qarnayn approached him, the man burst into tears and exclaimed, "O king, please save me from Gog and Magog!" Upon hearing this, Dhul-Qarnayn realized that his journey wasn't over yet. He had to go back to the valley and fulfill his promise to protect its people from Gog and Magog. As he started his journey back, Dhul-Qarnayn came across various groups of people who complained about the injustice they had suffered at the hands of the tyrants. In each case, he acted swiftly and decisively to punish the oppressors and restore order and balance. Upon his return to the valley, the people were overjoyed to see him. They had been anxiously waiting for his return and were grateful that he had come to rescue them from their enemies. Together with the people, Dhul-Qarnayn successfully managed to defend the valley against Gog and Magog. Despite their immense size and strength, the sheer determination of the people and the barrier proved to be too much for the invaders, forcing them to retreat. After defeating Gog and Magog, Dhul-Qarnayn continued to travel around the world, meeting new people and sharing the message of peace and justice. Wherever he went, he was respected and admired by all who knew him, and his deeds became legendary. In Islamic tradition, Dhul-Qarnayn is often seen as a symbol of justice, courage, and wisdom. His story teaches us the importance of standing up for what is right, protecting those who are weaker than us, and treating all people fairly and with respect. The barrier he built may have been a physical structure, but it also represents the barriers we can build in our own lives to protect ourselves and others from harm. It reminds us that with hard work, determination, and a strong sense of justice, we can overcome any obstacle and create a better world for ourselves and future generations. That's all for today's story, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the legendary King Dhul-Qarnayn and his amazing adventures. But before we part ways, I want to share an interesting detail about his story. You see, the story of Dhul-Qarnayn is mentioned in the Holy Qur'an. This is consistent with the portrayal of Dhul-Qarnayn as a just and merciful ruler who treated all people fairly. Now it's your turn. What did you think of the story of Dhul-Qarnayn? Which part of his journey did you find the most interesting? And what lessons do you think we can learn from his story today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more exciting stories and adventures. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember that the greatest adventures are the ones that bring us closer to justice, wisdom, and peace.